essentially restlessness. It underlies all of this emotional pain that comes along with this process, the feeling of yuckiness, the feeling of wanting to crawl out of your skin, of I don't know what to do with myself. And I look and it's like, it's not severe physical pain, it's just severe discomfort. It's something that's just saying no. If you could boil down the mind saying no to everything, to a physical sensation, that's what it is, right? There's a strong force underneath all of these layers of identity operating. And when we feel it very directly, it feels energetic. It feels like Kundalini, or intense energy moving through, or intense restlessness, or again, wanting to crawl out of your skin, or very uncomfortable. And I've felt it many times. I've gone through many phases of that. What I can say is the more identity layers that drop off, strangely and paradoxically, the more directly you feel it, but the easier it is to deal. It's fine. It ends up being fine. And in fact, at some point, it becomes almost like ecstatic, or it's so close to being the difference between ecstatic and like excruciating, because what the key point is, anything that's in us that wants to resist that is going to suffer. And it's kind of like showing you that it's like a flashlight, only you wish there was a 10-watt flashlight pointing in your body going, here, look here, let's take care of this. Instead, it's like 1,000-watt flashlight, like, and look at all of these places of energetic blockage and so forth. And that's why it feels so intense. The really good news about this is the answer is pretty simple. And it's something I'm sure you've heard, but I want to try to say it in a different way that gives you some actionable approach to it. And it's all about resistance. But the resistance isn't just a mental resistance that says, no, I don't want it. It's not like you can just tell yourself, okay, I decided I'm okay with this and I want to feel it right now. That usually is not going to reverse the very deeply instinctual no. You could try it, but generally speaking, it's not like that. It actually requires some inquiry. And it's sometimes as simple as this, but it takes a sort of really vulnerable approach and a willingness to feel deeply. The energetics of this are coming up from a very, very deep place. I might even call this the will to be. It's like the most fundamental animating force. It becomes a defense mechanism. But when this defense mechanism gets attached to human consciousness, to the apparent separate identity, it can kind of become a monster. It can become a very intense thing, and it gets intertwined with resistance patterns, which makes it very uncomfortable. So you could almost say it's almost reaching up to come in contact with you in a way, and it has an innocence to it. But you have to sort of be willing to follow with inquiry your emotion spectrum, your emotional cascade, all the way down to kind of come in contact with it. And what we're doing is we're looking for the no. We're looking for, where am I resisting this? Where am I saying no to this experience? And this is the key. This is really important. Do I have to? Do I actually have to react to this? Do I have to say no to this? And you have to ask it with an open heart, because if you reference your mind, if you reference the past, you'll say, well, I always say no to it. Of course I have to. That won't work. You have to really go down, come in really close contact with it, and ask yourself, do I actually have to say no to this right now? Even if it's just one part of it, maybe you have to look for a precise location of this. Maybe your whole body feels like it's on fire or something. But in this moment, can I come to where's the most prominent aspect of it? Maybe it's in the gut. Maybe it's in the chest, wherever it is. Can I go right to that core as close as I can, willing to feel everything I'm feeling in here? And you may not see anything right then. You may not get an answer, but you may notice a difference over time. The other thing is, once you've done this part, sometimes you get to this very strange place where it's like this sense of neutrality. It's a sense of surrender. It almost feels like a little bit of death. There's not a reaction, there's a response, and it's natural and seamless. You get almost to that place with it. It's very, very instinctual. Once you've gotten there, once you've touched it and you trust that you've actually gotten there, and just ask that fundamental question, then you can come a little bit more superficial and do a little work around inquiries. You can ask questions like, what is my fear about this? And then look for the practical concerns. You may have concerns like, well, I have a fear that if this stays around, I won't be able to do the things I want to do in my life later, or whatever they are. But the associated fears and beliefs around this, investigating those once you've gone deep can be really helpful. But trying to do that too superficially is not necessarily going to be that helpful. So the primary thing, in my opinion, is to go deep, 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 and be willing to touch this and come to this place where you're just beyond where you're begrudgingly accepting it, to where there's just this cauldron of intense sensation with no identity, and you're just right there and saying, do I have to react? Could I stay here just for a moment?